It is time to finally build that God Squad. Stay frosty and head to buymaddencoins.com for the cheapest, fastest, and most reliable MUT coins on the market. I'll even help you shave off a few bucks. Use code DIRECTOR at checkout for 20% off.
Yoda brothers, what's up? It's the Director. Madden fans, it's an exciting day to be a Madden fan. We got a whole bunch of new information regarding Madden 21, and there's a lot of stuff to be excited about, a lot of stuff maybe to be cautious about, but I think overall it's exciting to get a new game of Madden, and we should be seeing that at the end of August. The official date is August 28th. With pre-order stuff you can play in August 25th, and before that, if you have EA access, I think you can start playing on August 20th. Well, guys, we're going to go over all of these notes, get my impressions, what's good, what's maybe bad and concerning, what are the things to look out for in Madden 21. Before we get started with this video, guys, hit us up with a like and sub. If you do enjoy this content, the small amount of time you guys take, hit that like, sub, and bell notification. Helps out a lot. Let's get into this video. So I'm not going to read all of this. Would seem maybe a little bit boring, but I will highlight some of the stuff that I think is cool and new for Madden 21. We do have our new cover athlete in Lamar Jackson, which we've known for a while, but here is the new cover if you guys have not yet seen it. So there's 3 different versions of the game. You got your standard game on the left, in the middle you got your deluxe edition, and then on the right you've got your MVP edition, and these will come at different prices. They'll include different stuff, mainly for Madden Ultimate Team, so that's what maybe you guys should take a look at. If you play Madden Ultimate Team, maybe one of the deluxe editions are for you. If you only play franchise and Rex and stuff, maybe you can just get away with the regular version. So getting into the article itself, the big first thing I want to point out is face of the franchise, rise to fame. Rise to fame. It does seem interesting the way they're laying this one out. When I first heard it, and this again is kind of an extension of the face of the franchise in Madden 20, in which they also tied it QB1, where you get to play a quarterback, from college into the draft when they do get drafted. Now, the big thing I did want to caution about people in face of the franchise was my first impression of QB1 in Madden 20 was there was going to be way more depth. There was going to be a lot more story, a lot more narrative, a lot more immersion. And what I came to find in QB1 was maybe a little bit of disappointment. It just felt like it was, kind of the surface of maybe it felt more like a game demo than it did actually a full immersive experience. Just because, you really only played a few games in college. Then once you got drafted, which was a pretty short process, it kind of went into a regular season of CFM. And that's not really something that I'm super stoked on, because if I wanted to play CFM and have more control, I'd rather do that than play QB1, if that makes sense. So, I don't know, kind of interesting. But this year looks maybe a little bit different, and we can cross our fingers and hope and pray. But the reason I bring up Madden 20's QB1 or face of the franchise is just because I want to temper expectations on this front. It could be really cool, what we're reading could be exactly what we're getting, but at the same time, we never know. It could be like QB1 again, so I'm really hoping not. But this sounds maybe like I'm a little bit more optimistic. I feel like I'd be a little bit more optimistic if everything on this article came out the way it looks. So, face of the franchise returns, create yourself, and begin your career as a quarterback in high school, where you'll attempt to lead your team to a state championship. So that's pretty cool. Starting in high school, you get to be, you play, your high school, you're trying to get yourself a state championship. That's pretty fun. You're really starting at the roots of where these professional football players start. Your Lamar Jackson started in high school somewhere, and to be able to start at that, step 1 is pretty interesting. We should mention that while your career stats in high school, that doesn't mean you'll be the starting quarterback. So you're gonna have to fight for that starting position in high school too, which is interesting. Don't worry, no spoilers here. So it looks like there is gonna be a narrative angle at this as well, if they don't want to spoil anything. So I'm really hoping if they can marry what we saw in QB1 with maybe a little bit of long shot. A lot of people didn't like long shot, but long shot at least gave us a full narrative experience, whereas QB1 was just kind of bleh, you know what I mean? So hopefully there's something there. Next, you'll start your college career on National Signing Day, where you'll pick between 10 Division I schools. Let's keep going down here. After your college career, you'll be attending the NFL Combine, where you'll have a chance to test your skills and run the iconic 40-yard dash. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. How cool would that be if you had any sort of control on your 40 time, any sort of control on the other combine, tests and stuff like that. I think that would be pretty neat, man, because, this is really where your stats come from in Madden, is the combine. I hate to say it, but 99% of the time, your stats are influenced, hugely by the NFL Combine. So if you have yourself a good 40 time, you want to be a running kind of quarterback, that's pretty much, what you want to focus on, getting that 40-yard dash number as high as you can. And maybe there's something you can do, in season during, high school and during college that can help influence that number a little bit. Maybe go, if you're in high school, you can take a second, thing and go run like track or something as well as play football. How cool would that be to help, your 40 time? I don't know, just me thinking out loud. When you finally enter the NFL, your career doesn't stop. You'll have the chance to experience different storylines each season as you make your case for the Hall of Fame. So, new storylines every season. Now, I know for a fact that it's probably not possible to put in a whole bunch of, cinematics for every single season. Maybe, they have that engine, with other games like RPGs where you can, influence different branches of storylines, but it's usually, along one linear plane. If you have a whole bunch of different ones, I don't know, man, if they can really pull this off, that would be really, really fun. In my humble opinion, in my, anticipation of this mode, maybe once you get into the NFL, I'm hoping it doesn't do this, but it might put you into a CFM kind of, experience once again. And they had that engine, the scenario engine last year where they would send you texts and stuff, and you kind of, question on what you want to do, the kind of things you're trying to accomplish, the decisions you want to make. And although that was cool, it felt really basic, you know what I mean? So if this is more immersive, if there's more, cinematics, if there's more decision making, more RPG kind of style, weaved into the storyline, I can get on board with that. Anyway, we spent enough time on that. New gameplay features. Before we talk about some of the new gameplay features, take a moment to look at the trailer. You guys have seen that before. I'll put a link to that in the description. The big things to talk about: skill stick. You'll be able to combo together all of your evasive moves on the right analog stick, including juke, spin, hurdle, and dead leg. The skill stick brings more fluid athletic movement to the field and gives you more control over the moves you want to perform. So basically, they're taking all of those moves that we love, the jukes and spins and stuff, and they're putting them all on the right stick. So that's interesting. How much different is that? Really, you had, the B and the Y and stuff like that, the other buttons that you would have to incorporate with that. So being able to put it all on one stick is interesting. We really have to wait to get our hands on the game to see how that feels. It makes more sense to me that it's all in one place, especially on a stick, being able to control everything from that space. So we'll have to wait and see. From what I can tell, though, there will be combos maybe that you can do with the stick that can help you, perform those actions. So maybe if you're looking to juke, maybe you have to take the right stick, go right left, or left right, trying to get that kind of jukey animation in with your running back. So I don't know, that could be really cool. I like the idea of that quite a bit. Pass rush moves. Now this is where it gets a little interesting. All your pass rush moves and block sheds for Madden 21 will now be on the right analog stick, just like the ball carriers. You have full control to choose the exact rush move you want and when you want to do it. So maybe your swim moves, your bull rush, your power and finesse. I'm sure they're going to be adding way more moves than we've seen in Madden 20. I feel like, the defensive ends, you had, a couple of different ways that they would move around or, move through their blocks. But at the same time, I think there's more that they can do. So hopefully by putting an emphasis on this in the notes, maybe that means they put a lot more work into it. Be sure to use your rush move strategically, though, as each pass rush has a limit amount of available moves per play, and blockers will start to build resistance to repeated moves. So I talked about this last night too. I was worried that pass rush moves and more control meant that you're probably going to be using that position more. I don't know if a lot of people like using their defensive ends. It feels a little noobish. If you played Madden for a long time, if you see somebody, using the defensive line, that means you can attack them all over the middle of the field because their user isn't going to be there. So by putting an emphasis on having people use the defensive ends, it better be worth it. You know what I mean? Like if you're using a defensive end, you better get through because you're giving up a huge, game advantage, using your linebacker, safety, anybody in the box to control, more aggressive pass rush. So I don't know, man. We have to wait and see. This will give you more control and adds layer strategy to one of the most important aspects on defense. I agree with that, but I was hoping there would be more control, as in, you can set them up, you can line them up a little bit different, against, what the formation you're seeing on defense or on offense. And I don't know, man. It's interesting. It's interesting. Location-based tackles. There are tackles where both the carrier and defender are aware of the first down marker, end zone, and pylon. What this means is that you'll see ball carriers reach out with the ball while getting tackle to score a crucial touchdown or clutch up a first down. So I guess the big feature here is that you're going to be reaching for the pylon, you're going to be reaching for the first down, and we all know in real football the penalty in that, or I should say the disadvantage of doing that, is that you're holding the ball out in front of you. Someone can knock it out really quick, or someone can snatch it up, really quick and very easily. So interesting. Maybe there's a way for a defender, if you see somebody reaching out, you're like, oh my god, you go ahead and press X, and then Joey Bosa flings out of right screen and grabs the ball out of the carrier's hand and takes it back for a touchdown. I don't know, but it seems interesting. They're adding that to the game. That is cool. I think I thought it was funny that we couldn't do that before. I was like, okay, reaching for the pylon or reaching for a first down is pretty common, and we haven't seen that in the game yet. So interesting, kind of cool that they added that. You'll see the tackling defenders struggle but successfully deny the ball carrier these reach out moments. So again, you have control over stopping the reach outs. We'll also have our series called Talking Madden, so I'm not going to read that, but basically what it's saying is that on the 25th, mark your calendars, we're going to see a stream with Kralo and with Clint Oldenburg going over the gameplay. This is probably going to be the most important thing that we're going to see in anticipation of Madden 21, because gameplay really is the lifeblood of Madden. And if the gameplay is bad, the game is bad. No matter how good the content is, no matter how cool the graphics are, if the gameplay is bad, it makes for a pretty dull experience for a full year. So hopefully, because all the graphics and the presentation and everything looks pretty similar to Madden 20, maybe that means they didn't focus so much time on that. I don't see as many gimmicky things, with the X Factors and stuff as I saw last year. They were, building that model last year. Now it's set. They're just kind of adding and tweaking stuff to it. Hopefully they gave them room to breathe in order to really address the gameplay. Really crossing my fingers. Now, before we move into any of this other stuff, the one thing I am concerned about is that nowhere on the first part of this article, talking skill stick and pass rush moves and location-based tackles, nowhere do I see anything talking about passing. And we've already gone through a full year in Madden 20 trying to stop an OP run game. And so I was really hoping that they would implement something in which, could help, people that like to pass in Madden. I'm definitely one of those people. For very many years, I like to pass. I like to lead that as, my main scheme. I want to be a passer. And the only thing I saw, with anything that has to do with the pass is being able to crush it with pass rush moves. So I'm hoping there's something to help us out strategically in order to continue passing and having fun in that aspect of Madden. The last things you'll see down here are about the Madden order, the pre-order stuff, which versions of the game to get. I'm going to do a separate video on that. This video is already getting a little bit long, but basically, this is what you're looking at. You're going to be getting some, pre-order, exclusives for Madden Ultimate Team specifically. So if you're not a MUT fan, don't even worry about this unless you want to play a little bit early. But again, I'll go over this in a separate video today so you guys can get your hands on the information that you need and maybe my opinion on which one to grab. Well, guys, I hope you did enjoy this video. A little bit of a longer one today, but guys, Madden 21 news is here. Get excited. I'm really crossing my fingers for this one, guys. I didn't see anything on CFM too much other than QB1, so I'm hoping that you guys get some more tuning and maybe a little bit of an overhaul for that mode as well. And I don't know, man. I'm excited, but at the same time, cautiously optimistic. I'm not going to rag on it because it hasn't given me anything to rag on yet, but I'm not going to praise it too high because it hasn't given me anything too crazy to praise yet either. So, guys, let me know in the comment section what you guys think of Madden 21. What are you most excited about? Maybe what are you most intimidated about? What are you most worried about as well? Put that in the comment section below. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. We'll see you next time, and as always, stay frosty.